Okay, I put up some new photos for Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. Um, so let me go through. So this is really just kind of like a cleanup release. I'd made so many huge changes. There were some regressions here and there, and I've also been making enhancements to the engine for Samurai Showdown. And some of those enhancements have made their way back into Final Fight because I'm basically trying to keep them, pretty much running the same code. So one of the more interesting things is historically the grabs for characters. Like when a character grabs another character and they're lifted in the air, they cast shadows on the ground, and those shadows are calculated based on, basically the Z position of the character who's grabbing them. But there was one thing that I never really liked, and that was the fact that we have data, which is like an X and Y position, so we know where to put the sprite that's being grabbed for each frame of animation. But the problem is the problem though is that we have that position, but the shadow always stays in the same place because the shadow is always just basically whatever the Z position of the grabber is. And so what I've done is I've added additional information to the grab data, and so now there's basically a grab position, and there's also a relative offset that can be changed within an animation so that we know what the height of the character is, relative to the other frames of animation when somebody's being grabbed. And basically what this lets us do is it lets us move the shadow around when a character is being jostled around. So now if I cycle through Hager's frames, see how the shadow that's being casted actually moves up and down with it. So it actually matches the like the height that he's lifting the character to. So basically, the grabs have all been adjusted, to include that new data, and it's nice in the game too, basically, the more things moving in a game, typically, the nicer it looks. You also notice here on the sprite gallery, I added palette options, so now you can actually switch through all the palettes that are available. If it's solid black, there's probably just like not all the characters actually use all the palettes. I think that like Andore is one of the few that I think is actually taking up all of the slots. It's funny how they all actually have a burn palette, even though this is currently unused in the game, but I'm thinking about it. Okay, so those are the relative grab offsets. Some other things, just a lot of like minor fixes, like I fixed the positioning and some background elements that got messed up the last time I made like those insane number of changes. Corrected those things. The other thing I guess that I'm not going to bother even going into this stuff. You can just read the README, but another interesting thing that's come over from Samurai Shodown 2 is the like collision effects, such as like blood spurts and like hit POW effects, have been palletized now and use the pixel shaders so that I can basically set the palette of these effects depending on the materials of the object being hit. So for example, like if the material is flesh, human flesh, and you swing a sword at it, you get the red blood. But if you swing the sword at a pineapple now, the pineapple obviously isn't going to bleed red blood, and so now like the quote unquote blood spurt for the pineapple can now be like the color of pineapple juice. And so you'll notice that if you hit like certain objects now with swords or knives or sharp objects, it will the blood will basically have a color that's more appropriate for the material of the thing getting hit. Yeah. This is boring. I'm not going to go into this too much more. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to work on Samurai Shodown 2.